We have always been told that you guys from the West are closer to God, therefore you have better lives. However, whenever we meet one of you white people, you all say that you don't believe in God. This really confuses us. A girl said this to me during the summer of 2019 when I was volunteering for 10 weeks in a school in Kenya. This experience opened my eyes to the ethics of volunteering, humanitarianism, and the White-Saviour Complex. In this video, I want to introduce you to these topics and encourage you to think critically when planning your volunteering abroad. In my second year at Cambridge, I didn't want to apply to an internship and wanted to spend my summer abroad. I didn't care doing what, teach, build, feed the animals. As long as it was abroad, it felt exciting. I looked at many websites which offer these trips, but they looked too expensive. I also attended several program talks organized by Cambridge students and quickly came across this term, voluntourism, a form of tourism in which travelers participate in voluntary work, typically for charity. This was an entirely new concept to me, but I quickly learned all the problematic issues. You see, many people who go volunteering abroad have what's called the White-Saviour Complex. A white person who provides help to non-white people in a self-serving manner. A good example would be people who go volunteering abroad and post photos of themselves with children on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, as if those children are some kind of trophies that they've gained to show to the rest of the world that they're making a difference. In the UK, it would be so weird to post photos of us holding some kindergarten children. So how come it's okay then to post this kind of photos when you're in another continent? The Instagram accounts No White Saviours and Humanitarians of Tinder are good accounts which expose this kind of behavior. Teaching in orphanages? Yes, sure, it's a noble sentiment and a rush of dopamine must run through our brain as we proudly tell others that we did this over the summer. But in choosing to do that, there are disastrous consequences. Most children who live in these volunteering orphanages have a living parent. Therefore, you may be fueling child trafficking, and you may be worsening the children's mental health conditions such as abandonment issues by choosing to appear in their lives for 4 weeks before disappearing again. Those children probably learned the alphabet 10 times before you come to the orphanage only to teach them again. Building wells or houses while we're still at school or university, we don't have the skills or qualification to carry out any of that construction work. The infrastructures that we would build will most likely break in a few months' time, or it would be torn apart by our own travel agency so that the next batch of Western tourists can come in and build the same thing in the same spot over again. Believe it or not, local craftsmen can do a better job than us. After learning about all of this, I decided to go for an organization which championed for long-term sustainable development while disfavoring voluntourism. We raised some money while in the UK to invest in projects which aimed to improve the school's education in Kenya by acting as project managers and oversaw the construction of a boys' toilet, a boys' dormitory and some shower rooms. We aim to achieve a partnership in these projects by liaising with the school teachers and the local contractors. This was an approach which couldn't be further away from voluntourism. But even then, I felt a deeply imbalanced power dynamics between me and locals. Firstly, I was automatically viewed as a Mzungu, a white person who had all the money. I attended a board of governors meeting at the school where all the high-profile local citizens were there, and I was really overwhelmed by the way which they treated me so respectfully. They bowed again and again and thanked us for being there. And it felt extremely undeserved because I was just this 20-year-old who happened to win the birth lottery and be lucky enough to study in the West and go to Cambridge. The smartphones we had, the laptop we had were all better than the teachers had. All this unequal power dynamics comes from years and years of white men bureaucratic practices in organizations and NGOs such as the UN, and it's only in recent years that there's been a growing awareness of sustainable practices. I once told a consultant, a white man who worked for years and years in the UN, about my experience of power dynamics in Kenya, to which he replied,
"Yeah, like in Kenya, people get a bit used to Westerners going there and help them, so they become ungrateful. Just go to a poorer and less touristy country instead, and then they will be grateful you there."
I was like, what the actual fuck? If you're thinking about volunteering abroad, I urge you to first recognize that you're the one to grow and learn immensely from the experience. You're not there to save other people. Be honest and truthful to your own intentions by staying away from voluntourism and do your own research. Educate yourself by learning about the history and culture of the country you're intending to visit, as well as learning about the current international development practices. International development is an incredibly complex field. In the book Power Economics by Nobel Prize winners Banerjee and Duflo, states that in international development there is too much ideology, ignorance, and inertia. People obsessed with the deeply flawed idea that working on site immediately is the way to make a difference, having taken no time to understand the problems at hand. I will finish with an extract from Poor Economics. If we resist the lazy formulaic thinking that reduces every problem to the same set of general principles, listen to poor people themselves, and force ourselves to understand the logic of their choices, accept the possibility of error, and subject every idea to rigorous empirical testing, then slowly and eventually poverty will be eradicated. Best of luck with your endeavors.